Hello. How you doing? You're here. That's a start. I'm here too. Since our goal is to show up to the studio every morning, we've already won the day. I can't think right now. Um, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Look, you clicked on that link. You didn't know it was going to happen, so I don't blame you. But I didn't make you click on it. Anyway, it took you through a portal. Yeah. It brought you here to my place on the internet, which is a magical place. I call it Periwinkle Palace Arts. I'm Princess Bun Bun. Nice to meet you. I'm so happy to have you here. Me and my bunnies, we come here every day to do art stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. You ready? Let's do it. Okay. First, we have to say good morning to the bunnies. Everybody say good morning. This is Maya, and you know Maya. If you've been here before, you know Maya. She's our sweetheart. She's kind of the mascot, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm the mascot. I really don't know. She's my fibromyalgia bunny, and she makes me very happy. She goes with me everywhere. Well, we're going to do some coloring today. We're also going to do some things you've never done with me before. Yeah, I've never done them with me before either. How can you resist that little face? She's so happy. Okay, you gonna sit in the cup holder today? Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. She usually likes to sit under my laptop. There's room there, but she doesn't want to sit there today. Okay, anyway. We also have the Love Rabbit. This is Elecktra. She is the electric version of the Love Rabbit. And she's been through some stuff, y'all. She got patches on her, and yeah. And she even missing an eye, and she got stitches and stuff because she loves hard, man. She loves hard. Yeah, you love hard. And even when it hurts, you keep going, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Poor thing. She's just the wonderfulest thing. You know, some persons in the world, they go through so much, and yet they still remain just like happy and sweet and positive, and that's who Elecktra is. She's also very sporty. She likes to watch football. And we have Mr. Khaos. He is the ADHD bunny, Khaos version, and he can't ever focus on anything. And he has the jitters today. So I thought I'd bring him with me. If he can keep himself from knocking everything over on the desk, what do you think? Oh my goodness, do you see him vibrating? I love my bunnies, you guys. Okay. Well, you can't sit on the art. Okay, let's get started. First, I need my hair to be cute. It's cute enough. Let's move on. I'm having a bad hair day. We also need coffee. You guys, if you don't have your coffee, I don't know what you're doing with your life. Go get your coffee. I'll still be here. It's fine. I made a slight mistake this morning. I went to put the creamer, the half and half in my coffee, and I looked away while I was pouring it. Because these are the things I do because I was distracted. I usually only fill my coffee cup up to like right here, even with the half and half, but I filled it up to almost the top with the half and half. It almost spilled over, and luckily it didn't, but I just looked at it and I was like, technically more creamer means that There's more coffee in the cup, right? Right? I'll buy that if you buy that. Today is going to be a scattery day. I have a few different little things that we're going to do, and we're going to prepare for upcoming projects. So one of the things that I want to do is give you guys just a little look through my sketchbook today. There's not a lot in it. Not a lot. But we'll look through it, talk about it, and I'll tell you what we'll be doing with it soon. And we're going to be testing some PanPastels and pencils on this color paper as well as the black paper to see what we're going to do with the PanPastels and colored pencils. Because I'm not feeling very confident about this. I've never done this before. So it's a whole experiment, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But we need to do a little bit of swatching and testing first, so I at least have some idea of what I'm doing going into this, because I'm doing 3 different things that I've never done before. 1, I'm coloring on not white paper. 2, we're going to use PanPastels. And 3, we're going to use pencils over the PanPastels, I'm pretty sure. Now, on the charcoal gray paper, I think what we're going to do is just use colored pencils, because I've never colored on this paper before, and I want to see how vibrant the pencils come out on the paper. Like I said, totally new thing to me. So that's one thing. And then we're going to do various colors of the PanPastels on the black, and we're going to try to color over that with pencils and see what happens. I'm thinking that I want to do just one color as the base, but I was thinking about it in my dreams all night, because that's a thing I do. I have very extremely lucid dreams. They show up about the same time every night, between 2 and 4 a.m. I guess that's in the morning, right? And I solve problems in my sleep. I solve problems, come up with experiments, see things from my dreams that I want to draw or color. It's a whole thing. I also have some books, how to draw books, and we're going to look at those, because I'll show you what I was working on before I set my drawing practice aside for a while, but I'm ready to get back to it. We're also going to pick out one of the marker classes that I'm going to do to start on. And I have some stuff I need to sort into my portfolio, or at least like sort somewhat. So it's going to be a rando day. That's just where we're at. Okay? Let's get started. So first we're going to work with these PanPastels. Now, when I trimmed the paper to run it through the printer, the black piece, I cut strips off just like this. I can't find them. So, we're going to just trim a couple pieces off the sides of this paper. All right? So if you look back in the last few lives that I did, you'll remember that I tried to trace this with the white pencil. I printed on it first, and it actually showed up, but I couldn't see it. So I tried to trace it with white pencil, and I couldn't see that well enough to actually trace it. It was giving me a migraine. So I printed it out on a plain piece of paper and rubbed chalk all over the back of that, taped it down, lined it up, and I transferred it that way. Then we came back after that with the white Vera thin pencil, and we drew it again over the chalk, and then I erased the chalk. Okay, that's how we got here. So I'm going to trim little piece off of each edge. Now, one of the things that we need to do is we need to test whether or not we can see the white pencil through the pan pastel. So let me go ahead and cut this pieces off. Move stuff. My desk is a hot mess. A hot mess. Is that like a cultured mess or something? I don't know. It's just a hot mess. Let me grab my favorite ruler. I need to buy a new one. I've had this for years, and it's I mean, I can use it at a straight edge, but I can't really use it as a ruler anymore because most of the marks are gone. Those marks that you see, most of them I put on there with Sharpie. So I'm just gonna line this up here. This is probably not the best time of the day for me to use a blade, but we're gonna do it anyway. If something happens, then my husband can fuss at me and my kids. But if nothing happens, it's fine, right? Oh, it'd be helpful if I actually held the ruler down. Okay. They don't need to be big strips. We just need something to test with. Okay, there we go. Doesn't do anything bad to the paper. On one piece, I'm going to use white pencil. And on the other piece, we're just gonna go straight in with the pan pastels. So, put this up before I get myself into trouble. Excuse me, I have to open my other coffee. All right. I'm thinking. I'm just gonna grab this white Verithin, this nibby that I have. It's almost unusable, but we'll get a couple more sharpens out of it probably. So I'm just gonna make like a shape all the way down here. The shape being a circle, apparently. Now, if you're joining us for the chat today, I don't really have a topic in mind for our conversation, so just jump in, say hi. I love talking with you guys. The whole reason that I do this on a stream is so that we can have conversations. It's just a friendly place to chat and enjoy art and just enjoy some adult conversation. Not adult conversation, but conversation with adults. You know, I know probably some of you guys out there have children, so that's what I'm talking about. You know, most of us who have or had raised children, we spend a lot of time talking to our kids. Mine in the past tense. No, I still spend a lot of time talking to my kids, but they're adults now, so technically that's adult conversation, isn't it? I just mean having conversations with people that can say actual sentences. I'm not all here today, y'all. I'm gonna do the same thing on here. I'm gonna leave a little room on one side though, because I want to come back with a black. I mean, it's not gonna do any good on the black paper, but I want to come back on the charcoal paper with the black, just to see what happens. I suspect I won't need all of these circles, but we'll see. Let me grab my black Verithin as well. wherever that is. It's also very short. I have extras of the blacks and the whites in the Premiere and in the Verithin. I just haven't pulled them out yet. Okay. I'm curious if the wax and the pigment from the pencil is going to attract the PanPastel, or if it might reject it, like as a resist. I'm not sure what's going to happen, and that may affect how all this plays out on here. So we'll find out. Let me draw some black circles on here. And I'm doing it on the charcoal paper because it won't show up on the black paper, I don't think. All right, let's go with that. Now I have all these little tools, some of which I bought because they're actual PanPastel tools, and some of them are just random things that I had been experimenting with. So we're just gonna keep this basic somewhere around here. There we go. I have all these little applicators with colors on them. This stuff can get a little bit messy. It's a lot less messy than I thought it was going to be when I first started playing with them. That's fine. So there's not a lot of dust that flies around or anything, which I was pleasantly surprised about. The first time I opened these to try them out, I was wearing like an apron and everything. I was concerned. Okay. A few things, erasers and stuff that I want to experiment with. See how they pick up. I'm really bad about leaving my kneaded erasers in places where they pick up flecks of things, especially like, so I use this little tray. It came with my house, okay? I use this tray to sharpen the pencils that I can't sharpen in my pencil sharpener into. So I use a manual little hand sharpener. And I have a bad habit of tossing my kneaded eraser in there without emptying it. And I get that kind of stuff going on. Also dog hairs and whatever. There we go. I want to try out this pencil. And yeah, there's others I want to try out. For the most part, we're just seeing how this stuff worked out. I want to start with white. I'm trying to think this through here. Okay. I need to make sure these pieces are on the right side of the paper. Actually, I may have done this wrong, y'all. There's two sides to this paper, and it's called a dual-sided paper, and it has a smoother texture on one side and a honeycomb kind of texture on the other side. I like to use the honeycomb side because it grabs your medium really well. Okay, I'm just gonna mark this side of it. I may have drawn these on the wrong side. Let me check. Okay, that's the right side. But I did these on the wrong side. Yeah. Let me try that again. The reason that I have so many things to do today is because I'm setting up for the next few projects we're gonna do. But also, my mind is all over the place today, so I thought we would just chill and chat. I don't think that this is going to take very long either. Usually I plan out a big experiment, but I see the results that I need within the first couple of minutes. We'll see what happens. So anyway, I figured I'd probably finish this really soon, and then we could just do a few other things. You guys, there's a thing flashing around on my camera. Like, trying to find my face, and it's showing up on the screen. I apologize for that. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay. So these are PanPastels. They're basically super soft and super pigmented pressed pastels. They're pressed into the pans. They're super big. They go a long way. They stack up like this, but also I have trays that you can lay them out in. I just have so much stuff on my desk. I was like, I'm not doing that today. Make sure I have. I'm trying to get to the white. Nope. That's yellow. That is a very obnoxious bright yellow, isn't it? It's Hansa yellow, or Hansa yellow, however you say it. This is not white. I mean, it is white, but it's white with glitter in it. That's fine, and that's medium. I only have a few of these. I got like the basic colors and the mixed medium ones. So here we go. This is titanium white. We're gonna try that first. I also have black, but it's not in here, and I don't know why. It must still be in the pans. All right. Let me grab. I don't think I have an applicator that just has white on it. So I'm just gonna grab one that's clean. Like I said, I have all these different little applicators, but we're not doing all the stuff today. We're just testing. Let me double check this strip too. Sometimes it's hard to tell. I think that's the right side. I really should mark them before I even cut them off the paper. I should have did that. There's a lot of times in art where you're like, shoulda, coulda, woulda, and yet, but we have to let go of those things as artists, I think. Okay, let me pick up a little bit of this white, and we're gonna start right here on this strip. You don't need a lot. Like I said, it's very opaque, so I'm very curious to see how this works out. Well, it looks like once you blend it in a little bit, you can see the lines, sort of, kind of, barely. I can see where the pigment seems to have stuck to the pencil.
This is a reminder. Something has to be done again. This is a reminder. Take a ashwagandha down.
Pardon my Alexa yelling at me. Let's try it on this paper as well. See what happens with the black. That's kind of a better result. I really like the way the black came out, you know? Apply a little more, see what happens. Okay, we have a result. I'm not sure what I think about it. Apply this right here. There's no pigment on there. We're going to use this one for testing the colored pencil over the pan pastel. Okay, you're going to see me dancing and singing. Maybe out loud, maybe not. Throughout the day. And I do this all the time. And so, since I can't like play you guys the music in the background so you can hear it with me and dance along, I put on the side of the screen up there for you guys a little Spotify mini player showing in a little screen share of you know, a screen share of my media player, my mini player for Spotify up there on the screen so you can at least see what I'm jamming to. Okay, that's a start. And now I'm going to go through the other colors. Yes, you can blend these together. Haven't really gotten into much with that yet. Okay, I've made a few backgrounds after coloring something. Those are in some of my very first live streams, and you can go look at them if you want. But I wasn't really blending colors together as much as I was blending them out to a soft finish. So there's a lot I haven't done with these. A lot you can do that I have not done because they're a new to me product. I have seen some pretty impressive stuff on the interwebs though. All right, let's just start with orange, okay? I'm just gonna apply each color to each strip. Because firstly, I do want to see how the color looks up against the paper, as well as how it looks over and under the colored pencil. So I guess technically this is swatching. I love swatching. Do you like swatching? I love to swatch colors. It doesn't matter what it is. Paper, makeup, anything. I love swatching things. Do you guys hear that? Hang on a sec. I had pushed something up against my eraser. All right then. That was amusing. Slightly. I've heard some people compare this to using eyeshadow. A lot of people do that. They'll use eyeshadow to create really soft colors in their drawings. I have done that before. It's fun. They're very buildable as well. I mean, especially on this paper, you can kind of just keep adding and adding and adding forever. Okay, well, not forever. That's a bit exaggerated. Exaggerative. Is that even a word? Okay, so that's our orange. I have already learned that these things do not work well with water or liquids. I did an experiment with that a while back. No. Untwisting them does give me a little bit of trouble because of my hands. That's why I bought the little trays to put them in. But I've got so much stuff on my desk today, we're not working with that. So the orange, that's just orange. That's the name of it. Let's put some green. I'll tell you the exact colors of each one as we go. I didn't put the orange on there, on the white part, did I? You don't have to rub it in a circle, that's just what I'm doing. You can go in any direction. I have seen people create entire paintings or drawings with just PanPastel. I am obviously not at that stage. But I want to learn. And look, there's not much pickup or transfer off of that. So that's phthalo green. I really can't say that very well. I also can't use these little tiny things very well, but they're really good for swatching. But if I'm using them for a while, they make my hands cramp. And you can tell how opaque they are. I mean, that's pretty opaque. It really can cover up the whole thing, but if you just kind of blend it in a little bit, it tends to show up a little better through, well, I don't know. I don't know. I can barely see that black mark through the purple. Well, one thing we do know is that you can get it opaque enough that it will completely cover the background of the paper. It will completely cover whatever you drew on the paper if you let it, apparently. Oh, look how bright that is against the black. That's lovely. Keep that in mind. I'm not gonna lie, I like the purple a lot. Can I make that show up if I blend it a little bit? I mean, not really. Okay. Let me put some orange here. Remember, this is just a test. We're just testing. I just wanna be yeah, my shirt. I think it's dirty. Do you ever do that? You grab a shirt from the clean clothes and you're like, is this? I think this is still dirty. Well, that didn't work, did it? Sometimes the twist caps confuse me a little bit. I think I'm grabbing one, but I'm kind of not. And so that's violet. And one thing also is that even though it's stained, if you're not getting any pigment off of it when you rub it on something, that stain's not going to transfer. It's just stained on the thing, on the applicator. I think this is called magenta, but I'll have to check. I should have made more circles, huh? That's okay, we'll make more. You will get it on your fingers, but it's not terrible. I mean, if you're using pastel sticks, you're probably going to get more of it on you than if you're using this. They're not as dusty as you would think they are. And if you can see how little I'm using, I mean, I'm just tapping it. I really don't even need to reload the applicator each time. I just am. I want to make sure that I have a good layer of the pigment, okay? So that's why I'm doing that. So I feel like the pink isn't quite as opaque as the purple, right? Yeah, that's magenta. And I'm telling you the exact color names because, like I said, I didn't buy very many. So I want you to see what they look like. I have to look and see. I think I just bought like the basics, which had black, white, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, magenta, and brown. And then I got a 5-pack. They call it the media kit or something. And it's got black with medium glitter and black with coarse glitter. And then it's got a white with medium glitter and a white with coarse glitter. And then it's got a colorless blender in it. So that's what we have that we're working with. I don't have one that I've stuck in the brown yet. So. Look how, that's so much pigment. It's beautiful. I really love them. I was worried too because I get like, if you've watched any of my lives before, you'll know that I don't get along very well with textury things. So I was worried it would feel like gritty or icky when I first got them, but it's not. It's very smooth. I will tell you also that while you can pick this up with your finger, it doesn't work very well. But that's all it picks up when I tap it, and it doesn't feel bad at all. I probably should have brought some wet wipes to my desk. Oh well. I am not precious about my clothes. Oh, that's quite a coverage. Now I also know that by putting the pan pastel on the paper first, there's going to be some smudging. So that's something I need to take into consideration as well, because while I'm going over it with the pencil, there's going to be smudging. What I'm thinking about doing is the pan pastel on the black and then colored pencil, and then colored pencil on the charcoal gray, and then adding pan pastel afterwards. So we're gonna get into some stuff that may go wrong. And I'm inviting you along on the journey with me. And let me add some more circles here. What did I do with my pencils? Did you guys see what I did with my pencil? Of course you didn't. You can't see that part of my desk. I'm having high expectations. Is that too much? I don't even know how many colors we have left. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I just draw a bunch. It doesn't matter, right? Okay, curiosity strikes me here. Let's just go ahead and put some black pencil on there, see what happens. Okay. So another thing that I know that can be done is you can scrape a little bit of these off and put them in these clear containers that they provide and mix them to make a custom color. Supposedly. I haven't tried that yet. Okay. I'm still keeping touch since I moved on. And that is burnt umber. It's not my fault that I got it all. No, I can't be beat. Everybody wants me to be the daughter-in-law. Woo! See how bright that is? I love that, actually. There's somebody close to you. She really got you. So smart. They can get it since I moved on. All my exes moms, and they wish me on. Every person's all I did for someone else. All my exes moms. I like that song if you can't tell. So, note to self, always bring wet wipes when working with PanPastels. That is permanent red. So, a couple of years back, I was in a relationship that went really bad. And then, immediately after that, I was in a friendship that also went really bad. And I was, very upset, hurt, traumatized. And I have this need to not be negative about things. And one day I was crying and I was saying, yeah, but I don't want to turn into a bitter person. And my youngest kid, who is now 19, so he was probably like 16 or 17 when he told me this. It's really bothering me to have this standing on my fingers. Pardon me. I keep looking at it. He was like, you're allowed to be bitter. A little bit. You've gone through something. You are allowed to be bitter, Ma. And I was like, and I'm not quoting this verbatim, except for what he said, because it's stuck in my head. My children are very emotionally intelligent. Like, I'm not saying they always have control of their emotions, but they understand emotions enough that even if they get upset, they can come back to it and be like, hey, this, that, and the other, and work through their stuff, So he was like, it's okay to be bitter for a while. Just for a while, Mom, until you're ready to move forward, because sometimes you have to be bitter a little bit to heal. He sent me a couple of songs on Spotify, and I took those songs and compiled it with a bunch of other songs. And I created a playlist that's called The B-Side, just for a moment. That's what I'm listening to this morning. I don't really know why. I've been having some flashbacks and some nightmares. So I'm listening to it just to, remind myself that it wasn't all me. I take responsibility for my part in things. I know that I'm not perfect by any means. My hair is tangled in the back of my shirt. Sorry about that. But, I don't know. Sometimes I get to missing people And I need to remind myself that there's a reason that these people are not in my life. Music does that for me. I use music as a tool. I use it to change my energy, change my mood, make myself cry for a bit so that I can get those emotions out and move on, because sometimes I just have emotions build up inside of me, and even if there's nothing specifically wrong, those emotions can play with me, make me react to things weird. You know how it is. So that's what I'm listening to today. Not because I'm in a bad mood or anything, just because I'm thinking about people. And I think it's because, like, it's just that time of year that the things happened, that everything fell apart. I mean, they both fell apart around the same time of year, just like a year or two separate from each other. So that's probably why I'm having flashbacks and nightmares. But we're going to get through it. Absolutely. Next color. I think I'm hooked. I have no idea what colors I'm going to use, what color scheme I'm going to use for these, on these papers. Right now, I'm just looking for a color that looks really good against the paper, and also that I can see the white pencil through, and we'll go from there as far as color theory and what we're gonna actually color them. I love this song. If you don't know this song, you should go check it out. I don't know what pills you're tripping on, off and on. You should put them back on the shelf. All these other girls you're kissing on and hitting on gotta be bad for your health. You've been on a high, it's time to tear you down. Bite your tongue, you taste like someone else's mouth. I never said I sing good. I used to. Then I smoked cigarettes for many, many years. I quit. But I was a cigarette smoker. And y'all, that does damage your voice. Don't you just wanna look good. Why you looking my way? Should be looking my way. Should be thinking twice before you feed me those lies. My girl's all tripping up. And our highly, what do you call this? Offensive yellow? No. What about audacious yellow? This yellow is so bright. I feel like it's got issues and it just wants attention. All right, that was ultramarine blue. I love how they're all labeled with the exact color and the numbers. I don't really remember what those numbers are right now. As we experiment with these things, we'll figure it out. I also have an idea that I might use more than one color on the black and do like a spread into like maybe 2 colors or 3 colors outwards from the center. Have no idea what I'm doing, you guys. Welcome to my world. Can you tell that I'm having trouble with my hands now? They don't like these little applicators, like I said. This yellow I find as bright and offensive as it is. You need a little bit more to get the opacity. Is that the right word? Talking about opacity. Like, it's a little bit more translucent than others. Which is one of the reasons we're doing this testing. Give you another chance. And no, I'm not putting any pressure on this when I'm doing it. This stuff just, it goes right on, okay? I have tried to use this on plain printer paper, guys. It doesn't stick. You do need a somewhat textured paper. Now, what I'm using is Canson Métillance, which is the same paper I use to color on. It doesn't stick to marker paper either. At least not the Express It blending cards. The smoother the paper is, the less likely you're going to get a good result. That's just my experience so far, but also other people have said that. Like, I did a little bit of video watching before I started playing with these, before I bought these. That's how things usually get bought when it comes to art supplies, I guess, right? You see somebody use it and you're like, ooh, I want to try that. You see how much not as bright and solid the color is compared to some of the others? That doesn't mean it's a bad color at all. It just is worth noting so that you know. This is why we swatch. But again, remember that these things are buildable. So if I keep adding the yellow, you can build up the color. Again, this is Hansa Yellow. Lastly, I haven't played with the glittery ones yet. Shall we? Of course. Of course we should. So, it gives it like a pearlescent kind of look. Wow. I like that. Doesn't mean I'm going to use it, but I like it. Oh, that's really pretty. This feels like using an eyeshadow. Because, you know, most eyeshadows have some kind of, well, unless they're just like a pure matte eyeshadow, they have some kind of shimmer to them, right? But I'm not your therapist. I don't wanna sound cold at me. No, it takes a toll. You reverse the roles on me, hanging by a thread. I put just enough circles on the strip. And I'm really not sure if I would use the shimmery ones as a base. I think they might work a little better as a last step, but I don't know, so we'll just have to see. And so that was the pearl medium, the white fine pearl medium. That's what it's called, pearl medium. And then we're going to get the coarse one. Oh. Can you see that? Can you see the shimmer on these last two? That's super pretty. It looks more translucent with the fine one. I find that this is a little bit more difficult to stick to the paper, just a little bit. It does give a different finish. Oh, I need to draw another black circle on here. Hang on. Now, when using these, it's highly recommended that you use like a piece of paper or something to rest your hand on as you work, because, you know, smudging. However, I'm going to try to do that, but I'm not going to promise that I'll do that because I'll probably forget at some point. I'm just being honest. That's a good coffee. It's such good coffee. So the more you rub the fine glitter one, the more it seems like it just kind of comes off. It looks really good on the black. Oh my goodness. Okay. I could do the same thing with the black pearl mediums, but I'm not gonna right this second. I might come back and do that on the grays just to see how it looks. But, and then the bottom one is titanium white, which we already used. So now we're gonna look at everything. Looking. So, except for the white, on the black, it looks like we won't have much of a problem with being able to see our lines. We should be able to see our lines pretty good through any color, except it looks like white, and the orange is kind of difficult to see, right? But everything else looks like it'll be okay. So we can choose from those colors. This one gives us an idea of how each color will look on the background. And I think I'm going to have to walk away from it before I can decide which color I want to use. So we'll set that aside. We'll come back to these with colored pencils in a minute. I think all of them look absolutely great, actually, over the black or the white pencil on here, except for the white over the white is hard to see. That may not be the case when it comes to what's printed on the paper, because that's inkjet paper, or is it? I think I have an inkjet printer. Yeah, I don't have a laser printer. So we have an inkjet printer. I don't know how that will work. I might need to print something on a little test piece and see. I don't know if the PanPastel is sticking to the pencil. Actually. And I don't know if it will stick to the printer ink either, so that's something we need to test. In this one, we can see how the colors look. Yeah, I just don't know where to go from there. All right. I want to grab some pencils. My Prismacolor Premiers and Verithens. Those are the pencils we will be using. So I'm gonna grab some darker colors as well as some brighter colors, maybe even some grays. Let's start with the Verithens. Let's go with Poppy Red maybe, and then orange. We're gonna go with the basic colors in Verithens. Lemon yellow, true green, light cerulean blue. Let's get a regular blue. How about that? Let's go with true blue. Actually, peacock blue will work. And then purple. You can just grab violet. We want to do some pink too. How about deco pink? What else? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. What about a brown? Should we do a brown? So I want to see if the colors come across true, you know? I have my pencils all separated here. And not in a logical order. I just have them in different places. How about dark umber? Okay. I have something in my eyes. It's probably PanPastels. Oops. Alright. I don't even know how I'm going to do this. Let's just do some strokes here on the plain paper. It's poppy red. Let's grab a plain piece of paper so I can compare the colors somewhat. So like this. It's orange. Again, I've never colored on anything but white paper before. I mean, when I was a kid, I probably colored on construction paper, but that's not the same thing, is it? True green. I have a feeling they'll come out better when I'm using the Premiers. I can't really explain why I think that. I just do. Because they're a softer core pencil, so they're gonna lay more pigment down. So I'm doing this just because I want to see what the basic colors look like. over the paper. I feel like for the most part these colors are coming out pretty true. Okay, that's a start, right? I'm gonna put a V right here, just so I can remember those are the Verithens. And I'm gonna put a premiere on this side so that we can do the premieres on this one. Okay, that's a start. So now I'm gonna grab the black paper, kind of do the same thing though. I really didn't leave myself a lot of room here, did I? Okay, we're just testing the colors, so I'm gonna flip it over. So same process. This is gonna, turning it over like that, I'm working on the smooth side of the paper. So it is gonna affect the lay down a little bit, but not a ton. We should still be able to tell if it's true colors, right? Orange. My question is, like, obviously I haven't put down enough pigment here to flatten the tooth of the paper, right? So I'm gonna see specks through that color until I flatten the tooth. I hope that makes sense. Let's see if I can flatten a tooth here. Yeah, eventually you do get the color built up enough that you can't even see the black through it. So that's pretty cool. And you know, I do multiple layers when I'm coloring, so it shouldn't be an issue. But again, I want to see what I'm working with here so that I have some idea of how to approach the project. I'm kind of surprised. I've always been told that you can do this with dark papers. Never tried it. I see that my video is becoming kind of skippy. I apologize for that. My husband says that we need to have a hard line for the internet to my computer. But this is what I got to work with for right now, so that's what we're doing. You don't pay no rent to live in my head. Think it's about time that you are. Don't worry, gypsy. Thought that I could trust you. Now I got trust issues. I can barely see that. Okay. Okay, let's do the premieres. I'm gonna grab different colors though. Got permanent red. Mineral orange. Canary yellow. Dark green. I want to do a light blue and a dark blue. Let's do light cerulean and ithindrome blue. And then also imperial violet, and I want to do one of my favorite colors as well, lavender. Then process red is one of my favorites in the pink family. And let's also grab I think I want to try like a blue green and a yellow green. So spring green and cobalt turquoise. Something I also use a lot is goldenrod. You can barely see that, I'm pretty sure, but I always have to check the color name just to make sure. Excuse me. Okay, we've got lavender. What else? Let's give hot pink a try. Sienna brown and beige. That's a good kind of color line to reference it. Color line to reference. What I'm trying to say, it's a good number of colors to try. So we'll start with the black here. Ain't nobody gonna treat you. Okay, this is mineral orange. I guess it's not really changing the color so much by putting it over a colored paper as it is changing the contrast between the paper and the color, which is interesting. I'm curious, have you ever colored on colored paper before? If you have, I'm curious how it went for you. And if you have any tips to share or thoughts or even pictures of what you colored or created, put them in the comments, pop it in the chat. I'd love to talk to you about it. Karma is my boyfriend. Karma is my God. Karma is the breeze in my hair on the weekend. Karma's a relaxing thought. Aren't you envious that for you it's not? Sorry, I'm sorry. I told you guys when I started this morning, I'm in a mood today. Not a bad mood, just a mood. I say this all the time, but you know, you're never gonna know what energy you're gonna get from me when you pop in here. I don't know what kind of energy I'm gonna get from me when I pop in here. So if I don't know, it's not like I can tell you. Canary yellow. I'm not, just letting you know, I'm not listening to anything but music today. Usually I'm listening to like YouTube as well, or an audiobook, but not today. I don't understand what my video is doing, guys. I'm sorry. Spring green. I'm getting the pearl medium all over my fingers here. Gonna so relaxing thought, aren't you amazed that for you it's not? You'll see, I'll just put some on my cheeks. Use it as a highlighter. It is non-toxic, okay? I wouldn't recommend using it as makeup though. I'm just playing around. Whereas you can use eyeshadow and makeup for art, I wouldn't use art supplies for makeup. But that's just me. You do you. That was dark green. Cobalt turquoise. I had the hiccup so bad. So all of the colors come out really well on the charcoal gray paper. I'm noticing that the darker colors don't really come out very well on the black. I don't know what that means in practice. In theory, it would mean that if you put those colors down, it's probably not going to show up. But my thought process is if I put down Pan Pastel before that, it should show up. But I also feel like if you put down lighter colors first, you could come back over those lighter colors with the darker colors, and they should also show up that way. We'll find out. So, light cerulean blue. Oh, yeah, see how that pops compared to the dark green? And also the dark umber on the very thin side. It looks really pretty on the black. Not so much on the gray, yeah? So this is our Drone Blue. That sounds probably really annoying. I apologize. Alright. Imperial Violet. Process Red. It's easy. Hot Pink. Lavender, which if I, had kept these in the order they should go down on here, I should have kept the lavender next to the Imperial Violet, but I didn't do that. I get my colors mixed up all the time, okay? Got Sienna Brown. Oops. And beige. All right. That's our swatching on just the paper. Let me move these out of the way. So let's give it a look. The part of testing or learning about your art supplies involves applying them to your applying your mediums to your surfaces and then looking at them and trying to see what you learn from that. And what I've learned so far is that most colors come out pretty vibrant against the black. The darker colors, not so much. So I don't know if that means that we'll need to exclude the darker colors from our project or not. However, they do come out true to their color. So I didn't see any changes in the color. I think what we're looking at, like I said, is just a difference in contrast. Sort of the same thing with the charcoal gray, but here we can see all of our colors really clearly. So the Drone Blue here, no, wait. Yeah, the Drone Blue pretty much disappears into the black. So does the dark green. And over here, our light umber disappears. But you can see that they don't disappear here from the charcoal at all. So I don't know what that means, but we learned it. Okay, let's flip this over, because the next question is, how do the pencils look over the top of the pan pastel, and also how do they work over the pan, pastel? I played with this a little tiny bit on a past project. but not really. I don't really know enough. I am going to pause for a second, guys, and run and grab a wet wipe. So that I don't get this pan pastel all over everything on my desk, including my mouse and my stuffies. I don't want that. So I will be right back. I don't need coffee, but I do need to go get something. Be right back. I'm back. Did you miss me? No? Okay. So something to note is that this is just a plain wet wipe. And it takes it right off of her hand. These things don't stain. I don't know about clothes and fabrics or other surfaces, but they don't stain your fingers. And I feel like that's important. But they don't make a big mess. I really thought that I was going to have like a nightmare of a mess all over the place when I started using these, but it's not that bad, y'all. Give me just a second. All right. I'm just going to keep this on the side here. Okay. Well, now that I have clean fingers, I'm going to do something to show you. I'm just going to stick my finger on here and lightly rub it across. That's not a lot of pigment pickup. You know? It's not nearly as messy as I thought it would be. It's not any messier, actually, than using pencils. So, I could go back to the day. I'm trying to decide how I want to approach the pencils over the PanPastel. Look, we know we're not going to use the PanPastels underneath. Nice catch. Underneath the pencil on the charcoal. So I'm going to set that to the side. And we'll just work with this. So my question is, can I blend my pencils over the pan pastel, blend them together, as well as do the pencils come out true to color over another color? Or does the pan pastel mix in with the pencil and create a different color? Yeah. I really wish that my camera would stop searching for my face, you guys. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it stop doing that. So, let me just scribble all over this thing, okay? We're gonna use the Premiers, not the Verithens, because I don't use those so often. I'm just gonna go across these. It doesn't seem like the pencil picks up the pan pastel color. That's good. I just realized that I'm using permanent red, which is the same exact name of the red pan pastel we're using. So that just sort of blended itself into there. That doesn't look too shabby. So I'm going to run through all these colors, just like we just did, and we'll see what we see. There's a little bit of transfer to the pan pastel when we go over the pearl medium, but not a lot. I don't even know why my name's in your life, but I think I'm into the truth. Nothing you say's making sense today, so I think I'll take back you. Cause you're right up for me, I'm falling for you too, but I'm not so you can go away. I ain't falling for you, you can't hold me. And I cried everything. You don't make me feel, and I feel more than you, so that means something, doesn't it? So, oh my God, it was alright, but you was the same. I'm gonna run out of room here, so we'll have to finish swatching on the black one over here, I think. And I cried everything. You don't make me feel right. I feel more than loose now. That says something, doesn't it? So kicking you from my garden. It's alright. But she is that song. Well, guys, I never turned on my time lapse camera today. Oops. I just did it now. The reason that I run a time lapse is because I think it's really cool to watch something in time lapse. Like when I'm coloring, I do the time lapse recording because I can go back, and honestly, I love to watch everything change. And in addition to that, I did a thing this weekend. I finished it yesterday. It's already uploaded on the channel. I just haven't put a title and the description in yet, so it's not public just yet, but it will be probably by the end of the day. And I'm kind of proud of it because it doesn't look good. But if you've been around long enough, you know that I have been trying to learn Final Cut Pro and not having much success with it. I took all of my time lapses from when we colored our first Boho Beauty, the rainbow colored one, and I put them in Final Cut Pro, and I slowed them down by 75%. I strung them all together in order because, you know, I don't do a single project all in one day most of the time. It's usually multiple sessions. So I had a bunch of different time lapses for that project. I put them together. I edited them the best I could. I cropped them weird because I was originally going to use them for Instagram. So they're cropped weird. I feel like I'm going to put a background behind them. Maybe. Yeah, I did that. And I was able to add the starting image at the beginning and the final image at the end. And I was even able to put some chill music over it. So it's about 18 minutes long. But here's the thing. I was able to do it, and that's the point. The project was put together. I put the project together. I messed around with some stuff, and I was able to export it and upload it. Oh, I did some live drawing on it as well, just writing. I'm proud of it because I've been trying to learn Final Cut Pro for like 2 or 3 years. It's hard sometimes when you can't focus. And I'm happy because I did it. What? I did it. So as soon as I get a title and the description filled in, I'll be making that public. I am aware it looks absolutely terrible. You don't need to tell me that. I know, it looks terrible. That's not the point. We don't go for perfection here. We go for done. Perfection is the enemy of finished. Perfection is the enemy of progress. We don't do perfection here. So, if you want to see the little crappy video that I made, just go look at it. It'll be on the YouTube channel within a day or so. I'm not keeping these in order because I'm just looking to see if there's any pan pastel colors that are going to be like an issue. As far as the colors not showing up. And I'm running out of room here, so. I don't know what I did there. What am I doing? I'm having a bit of deja vu here, and I don't even know why. Did I dream that I did this already? There's no reason for me to have deja vu right now. Maybe I'm just having deja vu of, oh, you're swatching again. I do a lot of swatches. We may not have time to get to the other things that I have planned for the day today. I didn't know how long this was going to take me, so I just went into it and said it'll take as long as it takes. And if I needed something else to fill the time, I could grab something else. Yes, I do a lot of swatches. Look, swatching. Swatching is soothing, okay? It's so soothing because you get into like a little meditative state and you just kind of go at it. But also, swatching is important because if you don't swatch your products, if you don't try out your medium on the surface that you're going to use it on, how do you know what you're getting into? You don't. I don't ever know what I'm doing, babe. Ever. The husband is in the chat. Yay! Say hi to him. Everybody who's not here. There's nobody here. Okay. Do we see why Khaos is at the desk with me today? I am all over the place, honestly. The Mimi is here, but the child is not out here. Now that rarely happens. I just got coffee on my work. Usually, if I splatter stuff, it doesn't end up on the art. I'm usually pretty good at that, but remember earlier I said that PanPastels don't work with wet mediums? Well, that coffee took that little spot right off of there. Ignore the coffee spots, y'all. Just prevent it from getting on everything else. Man. Okay, our beige. Okay. Now let me look at it. No, peanut butter actually ruins paper because it has so much oil in it. So peanut butter dropping onto paper is like, there's nothing you can do after that. It's just, even if you get it up immediately, it's gonna soak, the oil's gonna soak into your paper. But I mean, if I had spilled the coffee directly on something that I was working on, it'd probably be somewhat ruined, but not completely. If you let it dry, you can color over it usually. But Luckily, I wasn't doing anything important. This right here is just something that I've been using as scratch paper and to demonstrate things while I'm coloring. So let me do an art stare here. I can definitely say right now that I don't like how it looks over the brown. I'm also not fond of it going over either one of the pearl mediums. That looks weird. It looks like the pearl in it actually created a little bit of texture in the pigment. And have you ever used a glitter crayon and noticed that it gets scratchy? When it gets that little piece of glitter in the tip that's rubbing against the paper, and then when you actually get it to apply to the paper, the glitter doesn't actually really stick unless it's wrapped in the wax. So then you get little pieces of glitter that move around the page and they don't stay where you put them. That's the experience that I feel like I'm having coloring over the pearl medium. That doesn't mean it's a bad product. What it means is that I've learned that I don't like that. So we won't be using that, and we're not going to use the brown. Color wise, I'm not liking how the orange looks or the red. I feel like my favorite is the purple and the blue and the green. We could definitely go with the white, but we did learn that when we swatched this over the white pencil down here, that white, you really can't see my white pencil through it, and that'll be a problem because look, I got a drop of coffee on this. Dadgummit. Okay, it's fine. So if I put the white over the white pencil, I'm not going to be able to see it. That's not to say you can't see it, but I'm looking at it with my eyes and my glasses, and I can't see it. It's going to give me a headache if I try to work with that. So we're not going to use the white. We're not going to use the pearl medium. We're not going to use the brown. I'm not fond of the yellow or the orange right now. The red could be okay, but I don't think we're going that way either. I really like the pink and the purple. I really like the pink and the purple. So let's try something. I'm going to pick a couple of colors and I'm going to apply them over the pink and the purple, and we're going to attempt to blend them. Okay? And the reason that I'm doing this is because it's one thing to make these little stripes and just swipe over the color, right? We didn't get any pigment pickup from the PanPastel on the tip of our pencil. And I don't see that the pencil moved the PanPastel around, which is good. However, when you're applying multiple layers and then you're blending together, I want to see if that PanPastel pigment is going to move, because if it does, I feel like what's going to happen is we're going to end up with, instead of it being like the background or the base color, we're going to end up with it being an additional color. So, for example, if I've got greens and I want to blend them together over the yellow. If it picks up that yellow and that yellow gets blended into the greens, then we're going to have a more yellow color than we want. Same thing if you put blue over it. If it mixes in, you end up with blue. So I'm not saying that we won't use the pan pastel if it blends in. What we will need to do is think about in advance, okay, so again, if we use yellow, okay, if the yellow blends into something else, whatever you put on the paper, then everything that you put down on the paper is going to have a yellow tone. And that is something that we'll need to account for as we're selecting our colors. I hope that makes sense. If it didn't make sense, let's watch what I do here, and we will hopefully get a better idea of what we're doing. So I'm going to use these greens, and I'm going to use the cobalt turquoise to draw just like a flower, just a basic flower over the purple, and I'm going to draw it over the pink as well. I'm drawing the flower like a 5-year-old would, right? Okay. Now I'm going to add this green, spring green, as if I'm trying to shade it a little bit, right? Just going around the outside edge of each little petal. I don't know why I did that. And now I'm going to grab this yellow. I'm going to add that even further into the centers. I'm being really messy here. It's not. I don't understand where the child is. I do feel like I'm getting a little bit of pigment pickup. And if I'm picking up the pigment, that probably means it's mixing into the color. All right. So I'm going to grab my white, and I'm going to try to blend them. So something to keep in mind is that I did not fully blend the pan pastel down into the paper. I just applied it. But when you actually put it on, it gets stuck down in the tooth a little better than this. Okay, the only thing I'm actually picking up is the yellow and green on the pencil. That's why I'm using the white pencil, because usually I use a white pencil to blend. And I can see on the tip of the pencil what colors are lifting from the paper on the tip of the pencil. And that's mostly green and yellow. Now, if the pan pastel mixes in, we can do one of two things. We can plan for that and adjust our colors accordingly so that I sound like a weird dentist. What am I doing? That sounds like a dentist. Okay. So we can plan that into our color scheme and know that we have to adjust for the extra coloration or another option, if it's real bad, we could use a fixative over it before we go in with the pencils. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm not going to do that this time on this project. Because, oh, the tooth of the paper. The tooth of the paper is the texture of the paper. I don't know why it's called the tooth of the paper, but that is what it's called. Anyway, I don't love fixatives in the first place. Even the best fixatives, they can sometimes create a mess. It's not my favorite thing in the world. I tend to use them after, but I always do use workable fixatives. So if it's really bad, you could use your fixative after you apply the pan pastel, let it dry fully, and then you can start with the pencils. But for myself, right now, this is an experiment. So I'm going to do this without using the fixative method so that I understand by the time I'm done coloring this how I can and can't work with colored pencil over the pan pastel. It might mean that the project comes out horrible. Absolutely, tragically horrible. And that's just a chance we have to take. Literally, that's the chance you have to take. Let me wipe this pencil off. I want to go over this red with just the white and see if it picks up the red. Yep, it does. It also turned the white a little bit pink. Let me try something else. Maybe if I dust it off some first. Not as much. Okay, well, we know what we're working with here now. So, at this point, we have some decisions to make. And to be honest, I feel like I need to think on this for a while. So, I'm going to move my little strips here. And we're going to move on to another little thing. And then we'll come back to this with fresh eyes tomorrow and see what we want to do. There we go. Those are our swatches of pan pastels with colored pencil over them. So I find when I'm doing like these little experiments that I almost always need to walk away from it, because what I'm seeing with my eyes right now is the experiment itself. I'm not really seeing how things combine together. And I can't really explain that very well, except to say that I need to adjust my eyes or my perspective, you know. On the charcoal paper, we also learned what colors look like against the charcoal, as well as how they look. Bye. As well as how they look over white and black. But again, we're not going to be using the PanPastels over. We're not going to be using the PanPastels under the colored pencil for the charcoal version. We're going to be doing pencils first, and then the PanPastels maybe to finish it off. We're going to be using the PanPastel under the colored pencil on the black. These are going to be fun to keep, though. Love my swatches. Okay, let me pick this stuff up, and we're going to move on to something else for a little bit. Not very long. These applicators are washable with soap and water. I have tested that. They're washable. They do stain a little bit, but most of the pigment comes right out of them. They do tear up after a while. So if you plan on using PanPastels, just know that you're going to need to buy these on the regular probably. They get very kind of destroyed because of the texture of the paper. So this is an example of one. It got pretty bad. It's very torn up. Okay. Normally I would go off camera to clean up this stuff, but today is a different kind of day. Let's just put it that way. It's just a different kind of day. You know, some days you have everything planned out, and other days you just don't. I have a tendency to store my white and black pencils separately from the rest because it doesn't really matter what I'm doing. I always need my white and black pencils, so I just don't keep them with the rest of my stuff. Now, I do want to mention, PanPastels are not cheap. They're not the most expensive art supply I've ever purchased, but the reason that I didn't get very many of them is because they are expensive. But my suspicion is, based on how pigmented they are, how far the pigment spreads on the page, etc., they last a really long time. That would be my guess. If you're planning on trying them, I would recommend that, even though you might be like me and you might have full set syndrome, I would recommend that you get a small set like I got. They have multiple sets that are smaller. I think that you really need to get like kind of familiar with how they feel and how they apply before you can really decide if you want to continue with them. I know that I love them so far. I don't know that I love them enough that I'm going to buy more of them, to be honest. And that's saying something, because usually my my rule is buy it all. I don't have the money to buy it all, but that's still my theory. That's my standard process. Yes, it drives my husband crazy. But if he didn't love me, I'd be screwed. Alright, let me wipe my fingers off again. Even still, you can see I don't have a lot of it on me. But honestly, I do believe that broken down color by color, I'll have to price this out, but I'm almost positive that per pan, the PanPastels are more expensive than my Copics. So one color of a Copic marker and one color of a PanPastel compared together, I think that the PanPastels are more expensive than the markers. So that could give you an idea of what you're looking at. But I also happen to know that, well, I don't know personally, I've heard and seen that the colors blend together beautifully. So theoretically, if you get your base colors, you know, the rainbow, and black and white, if they blend as well as people say they do, you should be set, right? I feel like that's a good starting point. All right, let me move these out of the way. What's next? Next up for you, I have my sketchbook. We're going to flip through this real quick, and then I will show you the books that I've been learning to draw. So as an artist, I feel like everyone assumes that you can draw. This is not the truth. Just because you make art does not mean that you can draw. I know myself, and I know many artists feel like they can't draw. And you hear it all the time. Anybody can draw. All you need is practice, and it's so annoying, right? Okay. Well, I can't draw. Sort of. I could draw small things, add details to images, stuff like that. But I've never been that great at just straight up drawing. So I'm going to show you some embarrassing stuff. I started working on this sometime last year, I think. I've had the sketchbook for a while. And I'm just going to go through here and talk about what I got going on in here. I have a lot of test pages, notes. This is one of my New Year's resolution pages. I do a one-word resolution, and I try to make some art with that word throughout the year. I didn't protect this page, so you can barely see it. But it's the only year that I use 2 words. It says laugh and believe. And basically it's like the believe part is a bunch of plants, like a garden. And then laugh is some kids playing on a playground. And then this is one of the first things I drew when I started drawing. It took me a long time. I don't remember how long. That was in 2020. It's just pencil. And then, what did I say about swatching? These are Crayola. Yeah. I made that for them. These are going to be redone soon. This is Prismacolor Verithin swatches. This is the swatches I made for the Premier colors. And I use them a lot, actually. And I also then made copies of those swatch charts in black and white, or just grayscale, so that I could compare them when using shades and values. So using this, I was able to figure out what I was doing. So this is, what is this? I don't even know. My craft cave. Oh. This is a sketch of some dimensions that I was writing down. My sketchbook is messy. I don't I don't keep it nice and neat. I know some people do, but I like to feel free to just scribble in it. Now, this sketchbook I started in 2019. The reason that I don't really have any other sketchbooks is because I used to, a long time ago. I had sketchbooks and handwritten journals. I lost them all in the hurricane. So, now, this was my attempt to draw holly leaves in 2021. Not very great. I don't know what I was doing here. Or here. Ah, I know what this is. This was my one-word resolution for 2022, which is trust. And then throughout the year, I wrote a bunch of different little things that I needed to learn to trust. So, just a few of them. Trust your routine. Trust I'm not getting better, I am better. Trust yourself. My kids' names are in here. My husband, the rabbit. That's my boyfriend, by the way. Trust your hands to keep going. Trust that crying isn't bad. Trust that the right people will see the real me. Trust your breathing, your music. Mimi, that's my mother-in-law. Yes. You're stronger. Your shower to not kill you. Actually, I was reading it upside down. It says, trust your shower to not kill you. I don't. That's the end of that. I tried to trust that. But you see, that bathroom has it in for me. That's my favorite part about the fact that we're moving. Okay, not my favorite part. But one of my favorite parts, because one of the biggest remodel projects that we are doing to the house is my shower tub. We designed it and everything so that I won't get killed in my bathroom. Oh, look, there it is on the other page. Okay, and this was a sketch that me and my middle child did for, like an idea. No, my bad. It's for the youngest. For Jules. We were sketching a goblet that he wanted to design and Procreate. That was 2022. I don't know if he ever finished that. Can you see there's a lot of like times in my sketchbook that I just haven't done anything in it. All of this was before I decided to learn how to draw, mind you. This was my one-word resolution for 2022. Accept. If you're interested in hearing about my one-word resolutions and how and why I do that, we could talk about that. This is something I've never finished. This is, I'm trying One of these days, I'm gonna create a like a note page, or basically just a page that I can write all the details of any particular piece of art on it. So like an art log. Okay, here's the first thing I drew when I decided to start drawing, which was in October of 2023, y'all. This is a lizard. It doesn't look like a lizard, okay? A koala bear. I was not good. I'm still not good, okay? No judging. I've got this dog. Yeah. And a bunny. You'd think I would be able to draw a bunny better than that, considering how much I love bunnies, but that was the best I had. Then I started drawing them twice each day because, you know, the first time was always like a mess. So I got this cat right here. That was the first time. That was the second time. And this other weird cat or a dog. I don't even know what that is. If I'm honest, I don't know what it is. And then got this dog. So I started doing at this point, basically I would do the steps of the drawing, step by step the first time, and then I would just come back and do it freehand. Sometimes one came out better than the other. We got this this dog here. This dog reminds me of my little dog Evie, a Chihuahua. Not so much in how it looks, but personality-wise, I guess. We got this gorilla face. These are really embarrassing. They get a little better. Alright, so I got this lion head. It always looks bad when you're learning. So I'm just showing you these things so that you can feel more encouraged to just start something. I've actually never shown anybody this. So next we have a bird. And this weird looking squid, I guess. It's getting a little better. A crab. I think that one came out pretty good. So that's about a month between this. So that's October 28th, 2023. That's November 20th, 2023. Didn't I tell you guys I swatch all the time? This is just one of my random swatches. Oh, look. My voted sticker in there. I got a swordfish here. This is just me testing pencils to see how they look. Different hardnesses of a pencil will give you a different result. And then also, I was practicing out of a different book. So I used 2 different books. And I will show you. Yes, progress, not perfection. We do not do perfection here. Perfection is our enemy. Shapes. I'm not great at shapes. And if you look at this, you can tell what shape I'm the worst at drawing. Can you tell? It's the one that I had to redraw the most. I had to a ruler to draw that star. Moving on. Oh, can you see? I can't draw a star. I've been trying to draw a star since I was 4 years old. There's a starfish. Also not great at. And then I got this little octopus. Yo, I'm using a kid's drawing book to draw these. Okay? I'm not trying to put a whole ton of pressure on myself. More stickers. I like to put stickers in my scrapbook, my sketchbook. So this is one of the first ones that I drew that I liked. It was just a house, draw a house. I think that house came out pretty darn good. That was on December 9th. So we started on October 28th. This is where we were by December 9th. I really like this pizza, okay? That was also in book 2. The more complicated drawings are from the second book, and then go back and forth between them. That's pretty good slice of pizza, I think, for somebody who can't draw. And we got this, what is that? A manta ray? Manta fish? Or shark ray? I don't know. Oh, this next one's one of my favorites. It's a donut. I love that donut. I did pretty good on that donut. And then we got this turtle. I don't know if you can tell, but doesn't it seem like I'm better at drawing objects than drawing animals? I ain't. I don't know. See? Cupcake, seal, or sea lion, whatever that is. The cupcake looks awesome. I don't know what happened to that guy. A cross between a manatee and a manta ray. Yeah, honestly, I'm gonna have to look at the book to see what that's supposed to be. So at this point, this is December 22nd. So that's 2 months of drawing. I did not draw every single day. Let's be honest. We've discussed this before. I am not a consistent person at all. I'm never going to be a consistent person. I've given up on that too. As far as I'm concerned, that can go the direction of perfection. Okay? This is my journey. Okay, so here I was working on like the same thing I'm always kind of working on, actually, which is light source. Light source. I believe that's a hammerhead something or another. I won't guarantee it. Then I drew these. I like those. I forgot about them. I can draw sports balls, apparently. And then we got this horseshoe that... I was disappointed in that. I'm not going to lie. I was hoping I could draw a horseshoe pretty good because I wanted to use it in something. But, no. And then this thing, that took me a while. Mostly because dimensions. I struggle sometimes with dimensions. So I did it here, and I was like, why does it look so much, like, deeper than it does? It just didn't come out square. So I spent a long time drawing lines on here and measuring stuff. I think I missed the point of the exercise, was the shading. But at this point, we're at December 31st. And then we got this shark that actually looks like a shark. That's a seahorse, not a horseshoe. You're right. Did I say horseshoe? Yeah, it's a seahorse. Okay, so shark. And then, this is one of my favorites as well. It's a ice cream cone with 3 different kinds of ice cream on it. And honestly, I kind of want to hang that up. Because I feel like when I did this, that's when I got to a point where I was like, okay, drawing is not my forte, but I can do it. I can draw. So I no longer say I can't draw. Because I can. This is proof. So there's a note here. January 4th, book 2. Page, I don't remember. I had hand pain. Returned to this on January 12th. Finished on the 14th. Not bad. Y'all, do my objects look like they're getting better, right? So, little whale and a shell. And an alligator. I don't know what this is. I think it's did I call it a dory fish? So for me, I think a lot of it comes down to perspective and understanding how shapes work when you're looking at them from a distance. Because there's these concepts like foreshortening, which is when something, I think it's when something's shorter than it actually is because you're looking at it at an angle. I think that's it. But I mean, when you're looking at something, it's not flat. So if you're trying to draw something in a 2-dimensional way, you have to adjust for the not flatness. Not flatness. Moments like this is when I feel like I need my husband here to help me, because I need words. And then I got this little fishy. I liked that one too. I feel like that's a Nemo fish. And that's a dory fish. And this is another one of my favorites, even though I didn't get the light source great, is the birthday cake. And I finished that on February 1st. And then we got a fishing pole and another fish. There's a lot of fish right now. I don't. It's just how the book goes, okay? Let's see. What was this? This was me swatching and testing my fine liners and paint markers, metallic paint markers. I think actually that is the last time that I worked on drawing. Yeah. So we went from terrible in October to not so horrible by February 9th. Okay? Now, why do I bring this up? Because I want you to understand what I didn't understand. I would get annoyed because I would say, I can't draw. I only work with color. I can't draw. And people would say, you can draw. You just need to practice. And I'm like, how do you practice something you don't know how to do? I'm not talented at it. I'm not good at it. I'm not doing this. I can't draw. I'm sticking to color. I like color. But sometimes I want to create my own art to color. So I thought, well, maybe I could learn how to draw a little bit. What I didn't realize before I started is that without color, your eyes can actually focus more on things like light source, your contrast, your texture, and your form and your shape in a way that allows you to slowly comprehend it more until it's set in your mind in such a way from repetition that you don't have to think about it so much anymore. So up until 2023, I cheated myself. I refused to learn to draw. I refused to accept that practice was something that was required in order to learn to draw. I refused to believe that anyone could draw. And I was wrong. I was completely wrong. And I have learned so much and improved so much just from 5 months of drawing, not even every day, from a child's book. I'll show you the books in a second. And I'm pretty proud of myself for doing this. But things came along and I set it aside for a while. But guess what? We're going to start doing it again. And I'm going to take you guys along on the journey with me for this. Now that I've shown you all the horrible things in my sketchbook, I'm prepared to let you see them as I do them. So, that is my sketchbook, mostly. I have some other stuff back here. Stickers from diamond paintings I've done. And I also have my New Year's resolutions back here. I'll just go through them real quick. So I started that in 2016 with Reclaim. 2017 was Embrace. 2018 was Recalibrate. 2019 was Laugh and Believe. 2020 was Authentic. 2021 was a bad year, but it was selfish. 2022 was Trust. 2023 Accept. 2024 was Uncomfortable, and boy, it was an uncomfortable year. And 2025 is Flow, and I'm not exactly sure how that's going quite yet, but I haven't fallen to pieces this year yet, so haven't had a mental breakdown. It's fine. And I got some more stickers on the back and the front. I love to decorate the front and back of my sketchbooks. That's what we've got, guys. I also keep these in here. This is Nina 110-pound cover stock, and I use it in between my pages when I'm working on them so that I don't get those indentations. All that said, I'll show you the books that I'm using. So this is the one that I call Book 1. You can see that it's covered with dirt. I couldn't find where it was for a while. So obviously this is where I stopped. That's 30 things I drew. Wow. So we'll be starting on this page. And like I said, this is book 1, and it's just a bunch of different things. Simple things. Bye. Have a day. So this is the drawing book for kids. 365 daily things to draw, step by step. And very simple stuff. I think that probably anybody could learn to draw a little bit from this book. And then I have this book, which is a little bit more advanced. So we'll be starting here with this one. And I just swap back and forth between them. So I brought this back to my table. And guys, I was gonna go through some of my art and put it in a portfolio, but honestly, I'm tired. We did a lot today. Yeah, that's all I got for today. I guess tomorrow, when I look at our swatches, we will figure out our next steps for our projects. And tonight I'll probably put together one of our classes for markers so that we can swap back and forth between those things. So we have our projects to do, the colored pencil ones on the dark paper. We have drawing to work on, and we have markers to color with. And that's where we're going to be limiting ourselves to for the next few months. Okay? I do have older projects that if I can get a little better at Final Cut Pro, I can start putting together. But for right now, that's just something I'm toying with on the side. I'm not going to stress myself over it. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with me today. Elecktra says thanks too. Do you say bye-bye? I'm trying to think if I need to say anything else. Oh, right. I didn't say my disclaimer today. You guys, I'm not a professional. Everything I say here is my opinion and my experience. And unless I provide you with a bibliography source, it's all for me. You know, I'm not an expert. We're just here to have a good time and share art, okay? And have conversations. I love having conversations with you guys. If you weren't able to get in here for the live and join in with the live chat, that's fine. I still love to talk to you. You can leave your thoughts in the comments, and I will definitely read them. I read every comment because, you know, there's barely any people here. And I'm okay with that. But whether you're here for the live or whether you're here to watch the video later, I hope that you get something valuable out of this. I'm here to inspire you to keep going, to show up, and whatever happens after that happens. Just show up. And with that, I'm going to run out of here and leave you to the rest of your day. Yeah. This has been Periwinkle Palace Arts and Princess Bun Bun. Me and my bunnies came here today and we did art for you and with you. We did art stuff today. Have a great one.